Join us now for Education Matters, a weekly look at the real people and real stories in education across North Carolina.
Welcome to Education Matters, presented by the Public School Forum of North Carolina. I'm Keith Poston. In 1997, the North Carolina Supreme Court held unanimously in the landmark Leandro case that North Carolina public school students are entitled under the state constitution to the opportunity to receive a sound basic education, and therefore it's the state's responsibility to provide it. In November 2017, more than 20 years after the initial ruling, Governor Roy Cooper formed the Governor's Commission on Access to Sound Basic Education in the latest and perhaps most ambitious effort to date to ensure that the state meets its constitutional obligation when it comes to public education. On this week's show, we talk with several key players in that effort, including the Commission Chair, to find out where we are and what's next. Before we tackle our main topics, we open with EdLines, a quick scan of education headlines across North Carolina and the U.S. Last week, the state released the latest A to F school performance grades, a system created by the General Assembly in 2012. Critics say the letter grades unfairly stigmatize schools serving high-poverty communities where low-income students tend to get lower letter grades than schools with more affluent enrollments. The data suggests they may have a point. Among schools where more than 81% of students come from low-income families, 69% of the schools received a D or an F. In schools where the poverty rate is less than 20%, only 1.7% of schools received a D or an F. The General Assembly made improving third grade reading skills a top priority with its Read to Achieve program that introduced a new series of tests along with summer reading programs and mandatory retention for third graders not reading at grade level. Unfortunately, last week's reading test results showed very little improvement. Third grade reading proficiency dropped from 57.8% in 2016-17 to 55.9% in 2018. Since Read to Achieve was created in 2012, third grade reading proficiency has actually dropped 5% overall. Finally, a new study is out showing the teacher wage penalty, that is the wage gap between teachers and comparable professionals, is growing nationally. Teachers now earn 18.7% less than other college-educated workers, according to the Economic Policy Institute. They found that the teacher wage penalty has increased significantly, with teachers earning just 1.8% less than comparable workers in 1994. North Carolina teachers, according to the study, has the second highest wage gap in the country, with a 35.5% gap compared to other college-educated professionals in the state. Remember, you can visit the Public School Forum's website at ncforum.org, click on Education Matters, and read more about each of the EdLines, as well as other topics we cover each week.